Relatively recently, I attended the Old Mutual Saving and Investment Monitor at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. The Investment Monitor essentially said that people save way too little and did not understand how large their future financial liabilities are, and they wrongly assumed that they will be okay at retirement. And it also said that people make poor investment decisions. The Saving and Investment Monitor also said that people should start saving and investing immediately to benefit themselves at retirement and also to benefit their future generations as well.
Well, today we presented yet again, as we have in previous years, around what a dire position the general population, the general consumer is in South Africa with regards to savings and investing, and where we're just not saving enough. But, us South Africans are resilient, and we are, even though we are not in a good place with regards to our savings and investment, we do see some positive behaviours coming to the fore. So for instance, I'll mention two. The one is that we do see some reduction in debt levels. So people are wanting to pay off debt quicker, and that's obviously a good thing, the less debt we have. So that's the one. And the other thing that has come to the fore, which our survey focuses on this year, is this whole idea of earning more than one income. And so due to pressures, due to interest, due to a number of factors, we're finding more and more people, it's an emerging trend, are wanting more than one income. And we've referred to these people in our survey as the slashers, because they are, let me give you an example, they are a call center agent / yoga teacher. And that's a positive. That's people making a plan. So hopefully that translates eventually into increased savings. So I'm going to be optimistic.
Particularly the big one is retirement. So very often you find people at retirement, you find the standard of living declines a lot because they just simply do not have enough money in the pension funds, or they simply cannot eventually finance those big liabilities like a child's education or future medical expenses, or whatever the case may be. So really talking about two groups, and it's the one that we focus on that should be able to save and should be saving, that are not actually doing it. So to talk about this group here, what we need to have is an economy that grows a lot faster, an education system that produces people that the economy needs, so that we can employ more people. And that's one of the key issues that we have in South Africa. So that is a big issue. We know that youth unemployment is very high. There is no specific sector that I would say that the youth should focus on. I think the youth should focus on what is my own skill, what is it that I can do, what is it that I'm interested in, what is it that I can go and study somewhere, and acquire a skill that potentially could land me a good job. The first and most important thing for most people is to just fully understand their financial situation. So very often you find that people spend too much, they always want the latest cell phone, they spend on things that they should not actually be spending on because they really cannot afford it. So that's a tendency that people have had in South Africa to get very dependent on debt, and eventually you got to repay the debt, and that's when the pain hits them. So I think it's important that you try to adjust your standard of living to your income. That's very important to do that. And the mistake that people very often made is they see the latest thing on the market and they actually want the thing, they get themselves into debt, and eventually it causes a lot of pain. So I think the most important message for the average person in the street is to try and adjust your living standard to what your income is, because in that way you can actually potentially prevent a lot of financial pain later on in life.
Without a doubt, I think anything that has to do with taking over human skill or human labor effort, as with robots or any type of machinery, of course that's a threat. And we've been hearing about that over the years, and it's becoming more prolific. So absolutely, it's a threat worldwide, not just here, and our young people specifically need to take note of this and make sure that they are skilled up in different things. So perhaps, as I said, referring to the slashers again, these are entrepreneurs who have seen opportunities to do different things. If you do become redundant, and that's made by and that's done by a robot, for instance, you have something else to fall onto. So the more skill that you can gain, and it also talks to education, the more skill that you can acquire, the better.
Very important that you fully understand what the cost of retirement is going to be. There's a lot of people that do not actually understand that, and the problem also for many people is they get sandwiched between, on the one hand, children that live with their parents for far longer, and so they cost parents money a lot longer. I think one of the research findings was that about 50% of people in their early 30s still live with their parents. So that is a very high percentage. And then you also have the reverse part where people live a lot longer nowadays. I mean, living to 80 is not that strange anymore. And very often those people do not have enough money to actually look after themselves. So they become dependent on the children. So very often you find people in the middle, they are caught between having to care for parents and also having to care longer for their own children, and that makes it a lot more difficult. So it is important that when people look at their finances, they just fully understand what all those potential liabilities are going to be. And the trouble with most people is they don't actually do the work. They actually do the homework and figure out what their financial situation is.
For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on our social mediums.